sound. And you sort of feel you've been transported back to one of these royal processions, and these instruments, these various rhythms, you can travel all over the place. And as I said earlier, just come together in a very beautiful, cathartic sound, which everybody in this huge hall in Aspen, Colorado, where I heard him, was just enthralled. They were just completely, mesmerized. And unfortunately, there's a problem with Wynton Marsalis. He doesn't fly. Not the prospect of the most beautiful music in the world can make Wynton Marsalis get on a plane. Otherwise, I would have said, please, Mr. Governor, let me give you another assignment. Get Wynton Marsalis here next year. How this can be done, I just picture his big band coming to interact with our polyrhythmic bands here for a festival, processing, let us say, from Ulumo to the stadium or even a short distance. Just the two groups, it'll be one of the most sublime sounds I'm sure I've ever heard anywhere in the world. It'll set the Atlantic on fire. If the idea happens to also set any listening governor on fire, I'm willing to do all I can to assist in that. I'm even willing to sell my political soul and go for a third term. After all, there are many firsts from Ogun State, so what's so bizarre about a third term? If he can get Wynton Marsalis here with his big band, believe me, I will perjure my soul and say, let's see if we can twist the Constitution. However, after the show, I'm getting on the first boat back out of here permanently and leaving the rest of you to face the music. So we have these various, a seasoned mathematician who's accustomed to permutations and combinations will be hard put to it to work out the number of possible permutations and combinations that go into the possibilities of a polyrhythmic band. And it's that kind of sound which we don't hear these days, simply because, of course, society is changing. We bring out the obas, we bring them out and so on, occasions like this, but they don't come out the way they used to do. In childhood, when they came out and you listen to that polyrhythm, you know that there's no other music left in this world or the next except that. So there it is, just sharing some experiences in the world of rhythm with you and welcoming you once again to this exchange. Now I'll give you your voices. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Prof. Just to say that as Prof was speaking, another legendary drummer came into the hall, Baba Ajewole Oniluola, the drummer for Ayinla Omowura. He was also with us last year and he gave a scintillating performance. You are still going to see all of them in performances before the end of the festival. Now I hand over to the moderator, Mr. Mufo Odifade.
Your Excellency, Your Royal Majesty, distinguished members of the High Table, we are going straight into the business of the day. We have speakers on the table, we have demonstrators, we also have interventionists. My job is very simple but very tough. And
just to say that we have the international drummers and we have the international drummers from Nigeria. And the chairman of the program and content committee just informed that this evening and tomorrow we are going to have them in performances, because yesterday we could not have the drummers from around Africa. but this night you are going to have them performing, and we're going to have demonstrations from our Babas. We plan to have them do individual demonstration, but we did not start on time. So we're going to have, maybe we can simulate what Prof called the polyrhythms. So we bring the drummers from there and the drummers from here, and then they'll do what's like a jam session. But I assure you that all these are master drummers in their own right. And as I'm just standing here, the last born of late Mama Shatta is here. Come on. Those who know the late Mama Shatta, this is the exact face of Mama Shatta. And he brought Baba for us. Thank you very much. The moderator continues.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to appeal to the speakers first and foremost. We know that your papers have been written, and there's a solid arrangement that these papers will be published. And so, since that arrangement is on ground, we will not be able to go into the papers. So what we'll advise you to do is actually to do responses to Prof's prologue. I mean, we've listened to Prof's presentation, so let's speak into that. Let's key into that, and then your papers will be collated and published. To begin with, we do not have time on our side, and that's why I'm talking about the toughness of my job. It's just to keep us on time. Each speaker does not have more than 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And that is why I'm here. Once I call you out, it's time to just please conclude, and we'll move on to the next person. So we are going to begin with the master drummer himself, all the way from University of Ghana, Dr. Sylvanus Kuo. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. With the warning sounded already, I'm going to be very brief. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am so delighted to be part of this festival and conference, and I believe strongly that this event will actually change our lives. I'm going to respond directly using the theme, the sub-theme, drumming for socioeconomic development. My paper is well done, but what I'm going to do is to pick a couple of salient points and share with you in response to the Prof's presentation. First of all, development process of a nation actually rests on 3 pillars. These pillars that I've come to realize are 1, economic values, 2, aesthetic values, and 3, indigenous knowledge. Drumming actually fits into that pillar, or it falls under that pillar known as aesthetic values. Even as we saw last night on stage, the production and reproduction of sound, pitch levels from drums, and also the playing of other percussive instruments, including shakers and clappers, produce what you can call drum language or drum text. You can vocalize it, and you can also textualize it. When you vocalize it, most of the Nigerian instruments that I listened to last night, this is pure vocalization. But in reality, these are words that were stored in the drum, because those days, the current writing system we have were not there. So our ancestors actually stored their experience, their knowledge foundation in drum. So they still dwell in oral tradition, which actually we need to transform into a written documentation. But it doesn't mean we should wipe out the oral tradition, because education is what we're talking about. If we talking about education, we should know that books alone do not do education, because education is experiential. So oral tradition must be there in parallel to what we document. let me quickly jump and speak about my